Hey, good evening, everybody. Peter Vexelman here with Partner Driven Real Estate Investing. Fun, exciting week. We're right in the middle of Christmas, New Year's, and you guys are here with me. I say that's pretty cool. Really, really, really cool. Glad to see you guys. I got some good stuff for you guys. We ain't stopping talking doing deals. We ain't stopping talking leveling up. We ain't stopping talking how to get to those next levels. If you've been listening to me, and we're going to get into the topic today we're going to talk about lead gen. And I could tell you, if you're at all serious about real estate, if you're not just sitting kicking tires and waiting for something to happen without any activity, then lead gen should be near and dear to everyone's heart. So we're going to talk about lead gen today, here in a minute. Again, I'm glad you guys are here. If you've been following me at all through the month of December, you know what I've been talking about, what I've been preaching is very simple. December will determine your next year's income, especially in real estate. Maybe in other avenues that you're involved in. Maybe December is not a big month. But I could tell you in real estate, December is a huge month. And it's a huge month for a number of reasons. The biggest reason being that guess what comes after December? January. And no matter what you may think, or no matter what you say or how you treat December, everybody will agree on one thing. January is a rocking and rolling time, right? January is a time for things to pop, explode, tons of activities and things like that. And so the last thing you want to do is roll into January, the fastest, one of the quickest, one of the busiest days of the year, and have nothing going on. So anyway, we're not here to talk about tonight that. We're here to talk about lead gen. I'm going to get into that in just a minute. Glad you guys are here. We're right in the fortnight of Christmas here in a couple nights. And I'm glad you guys are here. I wasn't sure. I was going to sure if I was going to dial in and it's going to be just me. I was like, is everyone Christmas shopping? Is everybody focused in on that? And I could see that is not true. There's quite a number of you guys that are excited about your future, fired up about leveling up. And that is really cool. So that's why I thought the last topic of the year, I think this is going to be the last time we do this, is going to be something that's directly correlated to making money, and that is lead gen. There is nothing more critical, nothing more important in real estate that you could think of other than, hey, we got to get some motivated sellers, right? We got to get some motivated sellers. And I got to tell you, I came up with this topic literally last night. We were doing another Zoom call last night, talking to a bunch of partners and some non-partners. And this topic came up kind of like, hey, what would you do? Like, how do I level up? How do I level up as it relates to lead gen? And I thought, you know what? Let's talk about lead gen tonight. Let's take a whole time that we're here together Tuesday and let's talk about lead gen. So that's how this whole thing came about. Hey, as you guys are dialing in, as we're settling in here, we're going to get rolling here in a minute or so. Let me know where you're dialing in from. What's up, Derek from Lithonia? How are you? That's like literally, I could throw a rock and hit it. I'm here in Vinings, so we're not far away. So let me know where you're dialing in from. What's up, South Carolina in the house? What's up, Melissa? How are you? I was just actually literally talking to somebody from South Carolina. LA in the house. Gotta love it. One of our partners, Rafa, I think he's just in LA celebrating their wedding anniversary. What's up, Gordon? Delaware in the house, obviously Florida in the house. Florida's always in the house one way or another. New York, awesome. What's up, Graham and Phoenix? What's up, John? Rochester, New York in the house. Boston, I love it. What's up, John? How are you? Kawachi, Austin, Texas. Gotta love them Cowboys, right? I've been following Cowboys, Kawachi, and I don't know if Austin is tied into Cowboys. It's obviously not Dallas, but I've been following Cowboys as long as I've been following football. What's up, North Carolina? How are you? What's up, Manny? Florida Keys. Must be warm there, because I could tell you it ain't warm in Atlanta today. But I bet it's a lot warmer in the south part of Florida. Orange County, California. How are you? What's up, Kevin? All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's pick it up and let's get rolling, because tonight we're talking about lead gen. And so, but before we get started, for some of you guys, you may know who I am. For some of you guys, you may not. So let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Peter Vexelman with Partner Driven Real Estate Investing. Who I am is I am a real estate investor. Been at it for well over 2 decades. Have done thousands and thousands of real estate transactions. Have done all kinds of techniques, have done all kinds of strategies, have done all kinds of properties. I've done houses, apartments, land, commercial buildings, subdivisions, done all kinds of techniques and strategies. In the couple decades I've been at this thing, I've done wholesaling, I've done retailing, I've done hoteling, I've done fix and flips, I've done buy and holds. I had a portfolio with over 400 doors on the buy and hold side. Have done creative deals, subject to deals. So when it comes to techniques and strategies, I've done them all, been part of them all. Some worked out a little bit better than others, but right now, as a real estate investor, I am zeroed in on a couple big ones, and that's fix and flips and wholesale. The reason I'm very focused in on those two right now, by the way, we do sidelines. We still do some creative deals. We're getting pretty big into short sales here with the partner-driven organization. But the reason I'm so zeroed in on the fix and flip side and also on the wholesale side is because the profits are larger than I've ever seen on either one of those strategies in well over 2 decades. The kind of profits that we're seeing people are making are just off the charts. We were just kind of diagnosing some of our deals that we're doing now to just a year ago, forget 5-6 years ago, but we're literally making more than we ever have on these strategies right now, wholesale, fix and flips. And as a mentor of mine taught me many, many years ago, here's how you look at business. There comes times in business where things just take off. It's kind of like being, it's like being on a wave and being a surfer, right? Every once in a while that wave hits, and when that wave hits, you just roll with it, right? You roll with it. You don't stop. You don't let off the gas. You go, 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 go. And Reggie, my mentor, taught me that there's going to be times in your business where things like that are going to happen, where things are just going to absolutely take off at neck-breaking speed. And when that happens, Pete, A, you got to realize that you're part of that, and B, you got to write it out. And this is why we're so bullish on the fix and flip and wholesale strategies, because of the profit margins that are in play right now. The question that always comes up, well, how long is it going to last, Pete? Is it going to be around for the next 10, 20, 30, 5 years, even whatever? The answer I give to everybody is, I don't know, but it's like that wave. You don't know how long it's going to last, but while it is there, while it's there for the taking, you got to ride it. You got to absolutely ride it. And this is why we are so excited about doing what we're doing. The other thing I am so excited about, for those of you that may follow me but not 100% connected with me yet, is that all my deals are with partners, with individuals across the United States. I was just sharing with somebody, I was doing a quick interview an hour or two ago, and they asked this question, well, take your partner deals, take the deals you're doing yourself, and what's the percentage? And I said, it's 100 to 0. Okay. We're doing no deals by ourselves. 100% of all the deals we're doing are with partners. And that's why I'm so excited about the model that we're part of, because it's not just me, myself with my investment company going out there and doing deals, but it's me, myself with my investment company and literally everyday people across the United States. And we're rocking it out. We just closed a deal yesterday. 3 days before Christmas. How many people are closing deals 3 days before Christmas? We closed it with one of our amazing partners, Melvin. Just wired it about to check how much I'll actually check how much I just wired Melvin today. Boom, boom, boom. We wired them $6,100. Not bad 3 days before Christmas, right? Most people 3 days before Christmas are spending money, right? But it's so exciting. We're making money. What's up? Hey, I see Brad's name. I just saw, and I was just talking, I don't know if Brad's on the call tonight, but Brad Woods, who's also literally right up the road here. I just got a call, Brad, about you from Laura. Looks like we got a deal that we thought you had it, you lost it, you brought it back. Pretty nice little profit margin in there. I know we had one of our realtors, Ivan, go look at it. He looks like put his blessing on it. So that's very, very fun and very, very exciting. And so that's really, really cool. So all the way, good stuff all the way across the board. We're very excited. And when we partner with people, the reason it's so exciting for someone like myself, who's done thousands of deals without partners, and now on my way to doing the same thing with partners, is that there's that extra touch. I mean, it's not just me making a buck, it's me making a buck with a partner, with somebody that's out there making things happen. What we do for our partners is pretty unusual. It's pretty unique. We provide what I call the pillars of success. And what I mean by that is when it comes to real estate investing, just like in any other industry, there are certain things that you need to have, right? There are certain non-negotiables, and I call them pillars of success. And this is what we help our partners with. This is what we provide across the board to each and every single one of our partners. The first pillar is we teach them how to do this business, and I always tell people there's some things in life you can kind of learn as you go, right? You can learn swimming as you go. You get in the shallow end, and the better you get, the deeper you go. You could probably learn basket weaving by yourself. You could learn, dry cleaning business by yourself. At worst, you might mess up a couple shirts, no harm, no foul. Real estate is not a business you want to learn by yourself for only one very important reason. The downside of real estate could knock anybody out with just one simple mistake. So we coach and train our partners. Number two, we help with lead gen. And this is what we're going to talk about today, something that's very near and dear to my heart. We're going to talk about lead gen tonight. We provide a back office. I share this with people. And a lot of times when I tell people that we provide a back office, I get a blank stare from them. Like, what? A back office? Who needs a back office in real estate? Everybody. And nobody thinks about it. Like when I got in real estate, I didn't think I better put together a pretty darn good back office. But you know what? You need a back office. You need somebody to process things. You need somebody to get buyers coordinated, sellers coordinated, paperwork, title issues, lending issues, just you name it. Millions of things go on. And so my back office becomes my partner's back office at the local level. We provide all the capital. So my partners bring no money to the table. Matter of fact, I make sure of that. Just today, I went through another round of raising capital from a source. And so I'm out there always making sure there's way more capital than there's a need for deals. Although I've told a number of my partners, I want them to challenge me on that. As we're ending this year, my challenge for all my partners going into next year, a year from now, I want to have 4 times more deals going on. Right now, as we sit, we have more deals going to closing than we've ever had with partners. Well, I want to do something really cool. I want to fourfold it. By the end of next year, we want to have 200 deals going to closing. Show me one single organization that has 200 deals going to closing. Good luck. I don't think you're gonna find anything like that, or any organization like that. And that's what I want to get to by the end of next year. So we provide all the capital for our partners, and then we put the properties in the market, sell them and split the profits down the middle, 50-50. So we coach them, we help them with marketing, we provide the back office, we provide technology, because obviously technology is a very important facet when it comes to real estate investing any longer. And like I said, we put them in a market, sell them and split the profits down the middle, 50-50. By the way, if you're not a partner here tonight and you've been following us for a while and you're like, you know what? I don't know what I keep on waiting for. Maybe next year, right? Well, guess what? Next year is not going to do anything if you don't do anything. So, but there's going to be a phone number that Kristen is going to put on into chat right now. We have some key members. Okay, we have some key members on standby that'll be more than happy to talk to you, answer whatever questions you may have, and even get you rolling to start doing some deals together. And that number is 770-746-8585. All right, so that's kind of all the admin things. Again, I'm glad you guys are here. We're 3 nights, I think. Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 nights before rolling into a big Christmas weekend. And I know many of you guys could be somewhere else. You could be shopping, you could be connecting with family members. You know, when in a time like this, there's not a ton of shortage of things to be done. But let me just kind of tell you this. I'm so proud of you guys for putting your future and your family's future at the forefront. And that's awesome. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm glad to be part of this meeting tonight because I love being around winners. And a winner is not somebody that's got a certain amount of money. A winner is somebody that's leveling up in life and they want to level up even more and they're doing whatever it takes. And part of what we're going to discuss here tonight is how everybody here could level up. All right. So guys, let's talk about lead gen. Today specifically, I'm going to talk to you about lead gen. I'm going to share with you a source that I have not shared with anybody that I'm personally using with a select number of my partners. And I've been testing it kind of behind the scenes. It is by far the best lead source that I've come across in years. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to share with you how I've been utilizing this lead source to generate tremendous amount of money, tremendous amount of capital, do great deal flow. And by the end of tonight, I'm going to provide a link for you guys, for those of you that want to jump into this lead source, okay, and want to utilize it. Now, I will share with you right away, if you're here tonight and you're looking for free marketing, then this may not be the right webinar. You know, there's 2 types of marketing. There's free and there's paid. By the way, both work. There's no downside to doing either one. One may take a little bit longer, might take a little bit quicker. One is a bit cheaper, one's more expensive. It's got, each side has got ups and downs. But the bottom line is, I built this business on free. Why? Because I didn't have anything. Now, as soon as I had something, I immediately rolled my capital into paid marketing. But before we get into this lead source, and before I share with you who's doing this for me, let's talk about the big picture of lead gen. There's really 2 types of leads out there. There's what's called an inbound lead, and there's what's called an outbound lead, right? Outbound lead is a lead that we as investors or as people that are looking for deals, we go out there and chase these types of leads. That's called an outbound lead. And an outbound lead could be a cold call. By the way, I built this business. Guys, remember, I'm going to say this a couple more times. Tonight is not like to say, well, gosh, Pete, I don't have big money to spend in lead gen. Does that mean I'm dead in the water? Totally not. 100% not true. It's just today we're going to focus on the other side. We're going to focus if you do happen to have some capital. And it's a big question that comes up to me a lot of times. People say, well, Pete, I have money I could put in lead gen. Should I do it? And my answer always is yes. Absolutely. If you have capital that you could put into lead gen, and real estate is where you want to prosper and real estate is where you want to make your fortune, then absolutely you want to put money into marketing. A lot of times people say, or sometimes people say, well, should I hire a secretary? No. Should I get an office? No. Should I, buy beautiful furniture? No. Should I buy some incredible paintings? No. I think that painting there is like $200. I don't, look at my office, it's pretty bare. I don't have this incredible, I've done thousands of deals, but I do this business the right way. I stay focused on the important things in life as it relates to real estate investing. And so let's go back to the lead sources. Again, there's 2 types of leads. There's an inbound and an outbound. Outbound is when you make yourself. It's calling a potential seller, right? It's like driving by a house and seeing that house potentially fits the mold of what we as investors are looking for. And so you're going to make an outbound call to it. An outbound lead is maybe taking a list from like Deal Driven, and formatting it from a perspective of, calling out-of-state owners, calling owners that have equity in their properties, calling owners that have owned those properties for a certain amount of time, what we call list stacking. And those are outbound lead sources. And by the way, I built this business on outbound lead sources. Now, back then, we didn't have any lead stacking. Back then, the only kind of stacking we had was white pages. When I started, they didn't have any of these kind of resources that we do now. And so I pretty much, for the first number of years in this business, I just called off white pages. I called them tax records because, they were tax records. But in essence, I was just absolutely 100% randomly cold calling. Had I just literally picked up the white pages, and by the way, some of you are like, what are white pages? Okay, and that just ages me. But what white pages used to be are these big, thick books, and they had phone numbers, everyone from where you lived. So here in Atlanta, the city would just, I don't know, it was a private organization or what, but we would get, these white pages, this thick book with every single name and phone number, everyone lived in Atlanta. And every day I would block off a couple hours and I would just basically dial for dollars, is what we call it. And I just basically ask people, hey, are you open to selling your property? Are you open to selling your property? Now, right away, you should immediately see some positives and negatives to this strategy, right? One positive to this strategy is I never ran out of names, right? I mean, there's 8 million people here in Atlanta. I mean, back then, there weren't 8 million, but whatever it was back then. So I knew I had an unlimited source. When you have unlimited source, you have certain advantages. Advantage one, you don't have to be very good when you get started. Like I was not very good when I made my first couple hundred calls. I stumbled through it. Even when people were interested, I immediately came through as a novice, as a beginner. And even the people that were interested many times pretty much, kind of shunned me to the side just because they felt like, well, this is a guy that doesn't know what he's doing. But when you're calling an unlimited amount of leads, you have an unlimited amount of time to practice. Okay, so that's a big, big advantage. The other big advantage making calls like that is the way I made them is that I made them from a very general perspective, meaning I just took a very broad approach. Mr. Smith, my name is Peter Exelman. I understand you own a house in Atlanta. That's a broad approach. That's a positive. Because guess what? When you're calling 100 people, or let's say you get a hold of 100 people, and you just simply say, hey, I understand you own a house in Atlanta, you don't have to have any information on them. You could just play the numbers game and knowing that about 30 to 40% will own a house. That's just kind of a statistic, right? So I didn't have to be even pinpoint accurate with the data that I had because I just played the numbers game. That if I got a hold of enough people, enough of them would say, yeah, I own a house in Atlanta. What's it to you, kid? So there were some, the other advantages didn't cost me any money, right? That had cost me no money, make outbound calls. And that's a big advantage because a lot of us build this business, myself included, is that we build it on a shoestring, Actually, I didn't even build it on a shoestring budget. I built it on no budget. For those of you that know my story, there was a times where I really couldn't even afford to live anywhere, pretty much just bummed around in my car. So I had no budget. And so that was another advantage to making these outbound calls. Another advantage is that I could, when you're calling on something like that, you could pick the areas. Now that's a big one. That's a big one because I've always told people that if I had a, like here in Atlanta, huge city, would I just randomly call in every part of Atlanta, or would I randomly market in any part of Atlanta? The answer is no, because there are certain areas that are more prevalent to have good deals in them than other areas. And so the other advantage to making outbound calls is you could pick the areas, you could pick the prevalent areas to do things in. But there are some disadvantages to making outbound calls. For instance, they're cold calls, right? So you're literally looking to time something. You don't have to be, people say you got to be good. You don't have to be good. I promise you. I was not good. And a lot of people that have made a lot of A lot of people that make a lot of money with me, they're not that good. I mean, right now I'm pretty good at making calls like this. Back then, if you would have heard me, you realize like, I was not good. But again, that was okay. There was plenty of time to learn this whole thing. But again, it was free, which was cool. But it was cold, which was not cool. And when you're making cold calls, like I said, you got to just time this sucker. You got to just perfectly time it that somebody's at least entertaining the idea of making, selling. Now, those are all kind of not all, but those are kind of the big things when it comes to outbound calling. But remember, guys, as we get into the hot leads here, that's where I want to spend the next time with you guys here. The next amount of time I've left with you guys here, I want to be very clear that as I move over here to the paid side of marketing, I am not saying that non-paid marketing does not work, because it 100% totally works. But the best kind of lead you can get is what is called an inbound lead. An inbound lead is somebody that kind of raises their hand and says, hey, I'm open to selling. Hey, Pete, I heard you're in the real estate business, or Pete, I was told you're in the real estate business, or Pete, I follow you. I understand you're in the real estate business, and I am interested in selling my house. So here I am calling. There is no better lead than that. There's no better lead than that. And this is what ultimately, as you remain in this business, I always tell people, ultimately, that's the side of the business you want to end up on for a lot of reasons. We don't have to sit here and spend a lot of time discussing that. Most people can understand why. One, it's a warm lead, right? They're calling you. It don't get any better than that. Two, it's a more qualified lead. Doesn't mean that every time somebody would ever call me looking to sell their house that I would do the deal. But there was a lot more chance that I would do a deal with an inbound lead that I would do with a cold outbound lead, right? Three, pretty good chance, not always, but pretty good chance I'm the only one they called. There's a reason they're calling me. I mean, think about this. It's kind of like, it's like going to see a doctor, right? If you're going to go see a doctor, you're not going to get on the phone. Like, let's say a good friend refers you to a doctor, a specialist you need to see, right? You're not going to call that doctor like a cardiologist and then just randomly get on the phone and say, well, let me call 50 other ones. No, right? Usually when you're making an outbound call to somebody that you've been referred to, chances are that's the only person, at least initially, you're going to talk to. So when you're getting an inbound lead, it is very safe to say, not always, but it's safe to say more times than not, you're isolated, right? You don't have a competition involved because they're calling you, and there's some kind of, even if it's not a high, there's some kind of a trust level. The real only downside, and I don't even call this a downside, but the only thing that prohibits people from being on the inbound side is almost every inbound lead costs money. Almost every inbound lead costs money. The only inbound lead that truly does not cost money is just a flat out referral, right? So if somebody just says, hey, call John or call Bob, and there was no money exchanged, and that's the only time that an inbound lead does not cost money. Pretty much in every other aspect, it costs money. Now, that's not a downside. That's a reality. That's a reality to almost any business that's involved in marketing, that's involved in finding things, all right? Show me a successful business, and I'm going to show you a business that invests money into the marketing. As a matter of fact, I tell people all the time that the number one place that even if you only have a limited, if you have $500, $1,000, whatever you have, put it all into marketing. Put it all into marketing, because you want to put money into whatever makes you money. Will hiring a secretary make you money? No. Will renting an office make you money? Absolutely not. Will having, perfect filing system make you money? Absolutely not. There's only one thing in real estate that makes you money. So, a lot. And by the way, when I got started in real estate, I realized after I made some money, and threw it back into marketing, I realized right away that there was no better return on my money than that. I then went a step, I actually borrowed money to put in marketing because it was just a no-brainer, right? It was absolutely no-brainer. I knew if I could borrow somehow from third-party sources $5,000 and put it into marketing, almost across the board, I knew I could get at least $6,000 back. And who wouldn't want to take an investment? You put $5,000 in and get $6,000 out. Sometimes these marketing dollars made me $7,500, or sometimes $10,000, or sometimes $15,000. So right away, I started realizing, when I say right away after I started doing deals, it took me months to do deals, right? For those of you that know my story, actually it took me more than months. It took me well over a year to start doing deals. But right away, I started realizing the impact of having capital and investing it into the right side of the business. Now, when it comes to inbound leads, I will also tell you it's not a free-for-all. There are many different ways to do inbound leads. For instance, you could run a radio commercial, right? You could run a radio commercial. Hey, my name is Peter Vexelman, local investor in Atlanta, Georgia. If you want to sell a house, call me, right? And that will generate, hopefully, some potential inbound leads. We like inbound leads. What's the down? And by the way, this is how most marketing works, right? You can run a TV commercial, right? There's many businesses that became extremely successful off running commercials, infomercials, and stuff like that. You could run an ad in the newspaper, right? Classifieds. I used to be, I don't know if they're still around. They used to be called penny papers, Thrifty Nickel here in Atlanta, Georgia. Huge publication. I used to be in the beginning stages of real estate. My beginning stages, when I started making money, I was their biggest advertiser. I would run, I think Thrifty Nickel would have like pages and pages and pages of classified ads. I would run hundreds and hundreds of ads every single week. A, because it was very cheap. And B, I knew it worked, right? I knew it worked. It was inbound leads. Now, most of these sources, newspapers, television, radios, signs, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on signage, both like bandit signs, these little cheap signs you put on the side of the roads, to huge billboard signs. But and these are the traditional ways to spend money on advertising that generate inbound leads, which we love. But there's a huge downside to every single one of these sources, is that most of the time the lead that you're getting is going to be an unqualified lead. Why? Because you have limited space, you have limited time to deliver your message, right? If you're going to run a commercial on TV, if you're going to run a commercial on the radio, you're going to get 30 seconds, a minute. There's only a certain amount of things you could say during that time. In print ad or on billboards, you have a certain amount of space. So those are all the traditional ways. And believe it or not, I see Coca-Cola being flashed up here. The big boys, the big, huge conglomerates still embrace all of those. But there is a level up way of doing marketing. There's a level up way of doing inbound leads that's better than all of those. Not necessarily more expensive, but better. That is web-based marketing. And the reason web-based marketing is better than all of those inbound is because the web-based marketing has the one thing that none of those have. Web-based marketing has the ability to qualify lead. If you run a billboard, right, what are you going to do? You're going to put on that billboard 20 questions. Who's going to write those down? They're not going to remember them. If you're running a TV commercial or running a radio spot and I'm driving, even if I'm listening to a commercial that speaks to me, that I'm like, yeah, that's me. But then they say, okay, but by the way, here's 10 things that we need you to think about and answer before you call us. I'm out, right? So almost every single medium that we use, the big ones that we all know about, have a huge qualifying problem, and that is that they don't qualify because of limited space and limited time. But the web, the internet, is the equalizer. Through the internet, I could qualify, which means I could spend the exact same $500 and put it into radio and have limitations, limit time, limit even time that it runs. And I could take that same $500 or $5,000 or $500,000 and I could put it towards web-based marketing. And the big advantage that this all day long, I'll take this. And guys, I'm saying I'll take this, the web-based side, up as opposed to everything else. I've done everything else. I'm not speaking just out of like what I think and what I feel and what the gut tells me. I'm speaking off after real life experience. All day long, whatever money I have, I'm putting into web-based marketing because web-based marketing has the ability to qualify. Because when I'm on the internet and I ask a question, hey, do you want to sell a house? And the respondent, however he sees it, whether they're Googling or they're on Facebook, and they're like, oh, yeah, I do want to sell my house. Before I get that lead, I have the ability to then ask questions. Where's your house? How many bedrooms is your house? How soon do you have to move? How much money do you want? And so the exact same person that before on the radio is an unqualified lead becomes an extremely qualified lead when you're dealing with the web and the internet. And this is why when I do marketing, and by the way, for those of you that kind of like trying to figure out, well, why would I do marketing if I don't do my own deals? And why would, because I'm always experimenting for my partners. I'm always experimenting. How do we level up? I'm always experimenting, I want to be a step ahead of everybody. And so having hundreds and hundreds of partners across the United States, I'm always running experiments with certain partners. Hey, let's try this. Let's try this. I'm always financing it. I'm always paying it because that's part of the great thing about being a partner of mine. Okay. And so for years now, by the way, I've experimented with web-based marketing. First, I realized, and I hope you do right now too, that web-based marketing is the way to go. But web-based marketing across the board does not mean it's all going to work. Because web-based marketing is difficult. It could get expensive. And it could be right. It could just right, down, bottom line, it can give you bad leads. And I've been through that. By now I have sunk well into 7 figures into web-based marketing. And the reason I've never really, I've shared some sources, and a number of our partners have gone down the sources that we have gone down and done very well. But several months back, I ran into another web-based source. And this one actually came as, this was interesting. I was looking. I knew web-based marketing is the way to go for the reasons I'm talking about. It's the most qualified lead you could possibly get. But I also knew that I needed to connect with the right operation that could generate those leads. For those of you that follow me, whether it's through partner driven, maybe some of you follow me on the internet, on social media, you know that I'm a big believer that you only do things you're good at. And things you're not good at, you find the best people and you work with them, right? You find the best coach, you find the best mentor, you find the best strategic partner and all this. So I was in a hunt, and I'm a member of an organization, a mastermind. I don't even know how many, I think there's like a couple hundred what I consider to be extremely successful business people in this organization. And we get together a couple times a year, and I'm always on a hunt for different things. And this is an organization that many times I go to. And so I kind of stuck my hand up in the air and I said, listen, this is what I need. And there's a ton of real estate investors in this mastermind. And I posed this question, everybody, what's the number one source you guys are getting your leads from? And it was interesting that I got back a dozen or so responses, and there was these, try this company, try this company, try this company. But across the board, there was one company that almost every single, it's like people say, try this and this, try this and this, try. But across the board, I realized that, oh my gosh, there's this company that almost everyone agrees with. And so I reached out to them. And, I let them know who I am, what I do. And I said, listen, I'm going to put you in a market. So actually, we tried them in a couple markets by now. And I could tell you the results have been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I wasn't even going to share this with you because usually we just kind of, when we do things behind the scenes and experiment with them, some we release, some we don't release, some we strategically release. For some reason, I've been sitting on this one. But like I said, yesterday, this was like literally yesterday, I was doing another Zoom call, and a couple of people asked me like, Pete, hey, how do I level up next year in the marketing? Or somebody else said, I got money, where do I put it? And I'm like, why am I not talking about this lead source? I mean, we're killing with it. We're getting almost a 5 to 6 fold return, meaning for every dollar I'm spending, we're almost making 5 to 6. Now, forget marketing, forget web-based, forget real estate. Let's say I'm just one of those somebodies on one of those TV talk shows, and I go on there and I say, listen, I can give you a 5% return on my money. I would immediately either be put into like a whack place, right? Because that's wacko. Or I would be immediately labeled the greatest investor of its time, right? And that's really what's taking place here. We're literally getting a $5 to $6 to $7 return for every dollar we're spending on this marketing source. And so I'm here to tell you tonight that if you find yourself in a position that you do have money to spend. Now, here's the question that a lot of you guys are thinking about. You're thinking, well, how much should I have? I would say you should minimum have at least a couple $1,000s a month budget, like bare bone minimums. I could tell you I'm spending about $8,000 to $10,000 a month. I'm spending about $8,000 to $10,000 a month. We've done it for a number of months. We've had a couple deals. We got one deal that we made over 100,000 on, which will pay for this thing for a year. But we had several deals come out, and like I said, we're making 5 to 6 to 7 times the return on our marketing dollars. So if you find yourself here tonight, like, hey, I'm ready to level up. I have extra capital. It's sitting on the sideline. It's not doing anything. Or maybe you are already putting into some marketing sources and they're just not working for you. I could tell you, I love this marketing source. I love it. We're doing phenomenal. And the partners I'm experimenting with, I was talking to one of them a couple of days ago. I'm like, what should we do? He's like, let's spend more. It's a no-brainer. It's an absolutely no-brainer. And so it's, and by the way, this is not something I just tried for like a couple weeks or a couple days. This is something we've done for months on end, months and months on end now. So this is and it keeps on validating itself over and over. So it's not like we started, did a couple deals in the first couple months, destroyed the market, and now we don't have, now nothing, crickets. It's totally opposite of that. It's totally opposite of that. It's continuing to produce. We're flat. Interestingly enough, let me tell you what else I did just to validate the source. I brought another 2 teams, okay, in the same markets at the same time, which you actually would not be recommended because it says since I started competing against myself. But I wanted to make sure that I was dealing with the right team, right? So I literally brought a couple other teams into the exact same market that did web-based marketing, right? And I didn't give everybody too much information about each other. And again, this would not be recommended by people because it's like I started competing myself because in the internet, you start bidding things up, right? So when you're the only one marketing using web-based strategies, you're the only one in the marketplace, the costs go down. When there's 100 of you, costs go up. But I even went that far. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something. So I literally brought other teams to compete against myself, in essence, starting to bid my own cost of leads up. And boom. Again, this team that I'm using proved to be the top. So I'm here today just to report the news to you guys. I'm here today to tell you that this stuff is working for us. It's working well. I do not feel it's just marketing focused, meaning, well, I just happen to pick the right one or couple markets because these are random markets, right? But I will tell you this. Number one, make sure you got some bucks. Don't do this if you have $50 a month. Minimum couple grand a month. Really, you should put more into it. I'd say probably about $5,000 for a number of months. And then it just becomes a no-brainer. you have to be serious when you do this. What I mean by that is don't do this if you're going to spend. Some people have the money, but they don't have the time. That's not going to work. Because if you're going to spend good amount of money getting good quality leads and you're like, well, I'm going to get to it next week. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. You got to be able to, one of the things that when I entered into this agreement with my local partners, because remember, I'm footing the bill. I'm not asking the local partner to pay for any of this. The deal was within 3 minutes, you got to be calling this lead. And so I'm not saying it has to be that tight, but this is, remember, I said one of the key factors about web-based marketing is you could qualify them. These people fill out forms, like these are very qualified leads. They fill out questionnaires. Okay. They fill out questionnaires. So this is next level stuff. And I'm very happy. I'm very proud of these guys. I talk to them more and more because I feel like this is great. I could see how this potentially could really grow with partner driven. I could see how this could go with partner driven. So if you got the money, you have the resources, you have the time, you're going to jump on them. You don't have to be with partner driven, by the way. You could be like, hey, I'm doing this myself. That's fine. You don't have to be tied into us. If you're tied into us, we'll obviously help you with them. We'll help you disseminate them. We'll help you negotiate them. We'll help you get contracts to them. But if you're listening tonight and you have nothing to do with partner driven and you're knocking deals out yourself and you want another source that somebody like me who's done thousands of deals would say, yeah, I'm using it, it works, then this is a great thing to do. So there's going to be a link that's going to be put into chat right now. Okay. And all you got to do is go to this link and you fill out the information, just put your information in and they'll touch base. One of their representatives will touch base with you. By the way, Kristen, put my phone number up too. For those of you that like, yeah, I'm in, I want to do it. I want you to shoot me a text because I want to kind of follow your journey with them. So Kristen, if you could put my phone number up, it's 404-915-9685, 404-915-9685. So if you go there tonight or tomorrow and you're like, yep, I want to go through the process, just text me, tell me you're doing it so that I'll make sure you're getting, the right service and they're taking care of you. And I want to kind of follow you through this journey. But again, I love them. Does that mean everyone's going to love them? Probably not. But I got history. I got experience. I know what to love in real estate. I know what to stay away from. And this is a good thing. This is a great thing. And this is the great timing because there's a number of you guys that have been hammering, you know me, I've been preaching December. This will determine 2022. And a lot of people have said, well, Pete, tell me how to level up. Tell me how to level up. And for some reason, I never put the two and two together until yesterday. Like I said, in a totally unrelated call, somebody like, hey, I want to do more marketing. I'm thinking, why am I not talking about this? And so this is a perfect time for a lot of you guys who are wanting to level up. This is a perfect time to level up. So the link is there. Make sure, please don't go there if you have no money because this costs money and you want to have thousands of dollars on a monthly basis you want to put into it. At minimum 2 to 3, I would say probably closer to 5 or something like that. And remember, it's real estate. So it's not like you're going to put $3,000 into it today and tomorrow you're going to make 10. Right? So you got to be able to sustain this thing for a couple months, but that obviously goes without saying. So guys, I hope that was of value to you, maybe not to you, but somebody else, again, I believe it. Most importantly, I believe in the business. And above that, I believe in what we do here at Partner Driven. So I enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned a lot. I enjoyed delivering this message or where I could help a number of people or at least refer you to somebody that I know has done good things for us. So on behalf of myself, Peter Vexelman, Kristen, who's been instrumental in helping me drive this thing forward, most importantly, the team that's behind Kristen and I that make all this possible. I appreciate it. I thank you. I think we might do one more before New Year's, but definitely not before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And if I don't see you or talk to you guys, Happy New Year, and let's blow it out in 2022. Thanks, guys.